Hey guys, NinjaGuyVR here, and man, I was kind of bummed out on this Team Next Fest because there was supposed to be a demo of this game called A Hunter's Tales, but I've spoken to the developers and they just didn't have the time to release a demo back then. But fast forward to today, I was lucky enough to get early access of the game, and man, I had such a fun time. It's such a promising game, and I'm looking forward to talk to you guys about this game right now. So let me introduce you guys to the world of A Hunter's Tales. So I don't know about you guys, but this game looks epic, and today I'm just here to tell you about my first impression and give you a little bit of information of the game itself. So the demo starts in this village, which is also considered your hub, and this person greets you and just tells you what you have to do. So it's pretty straightforward at first. You know, you have to go see the blacksmith and he tells you to do a few things in order to get your first real weapon. So, you know, you just go in the field and then start destroying some of these monsters. So the game is quest-oriented, and I like that, you know, a little bit of story in my game. And the game is an RPG where you have to defeat monsters to level up, and you gather, you know, some materials to sell and get more money. And that's how you get stronger, you know. When you level up, you can increase some of your stats, and then you can also upgrade some weapons at the weaponsmith and buy new weapons. Speaking of weapons, there's a nice variety. You know, there's a few swords, but not only that, but they all have their unique stats. So the wooden sword, you know, you have a better critical rate, and then the other sword is just a higher critical damage, and things like that. And then you have some staff. You can use one to levitate some enemies so they don't damage you, and then you have one that you can use that throw projectiles at them. And then the last weapon that I tried was a kind of like a morning star, but you had to hold your trigger to make the morning star appear, and then you could throw it at the enemies. It was pretty cool. I love the combat, man. It gives me a really big vibe of Secret of Mana, because when you hit with your sword, you have to wait a little bit of time before hitting again to do mass damage again. And you know, this works really well with VR because you don't want to like spam attack these enemies, right? So you hit this one time, you just have to wait a little bit, then hit again. It's perfect. And the aesthetics of the creatures and the whole world is just beautiful. I love it. The kind of creatures that I've met in the game are these little creatures that throws projectiles at you, and then there's these wolf that, you know, just rams at you. These were the two main creatures in the demo, but I want more. I want to see more creatures like that. This was pretty cool. And you can actually block them. All you have to do is just put your sword into a certain angle of the attack, and you avoid to get damage. So, you know, I like the flow of the game with the quest and just how you progress to the game. And the world that you fight the monsters in is pretty cool. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be built on a really huge world, because at a certain point you encounter a portal, and every time you go in it, it's like a procedurally generated level, so it's always different. So maybe they'll go into the route where you just go into these random mazes where you have to defeat enemies, but I'm not exactly sure yet. The game can have some kind of a Dark Souls element, because one time I've encountered a wolf that was like 3 times my level out of nowhere, and it was very difficult to defeat, you know. And when you die, you just spawn back at the beginning of the village, but at least you don't lose anything, so you can just go back and do all of the things that you need to do. So during my playtime, you know, I was in this portal and I was fighting these enemies, and at some point I almost didn't have any potions, and I see another portal in there. I was like, oh, this probably brings me back to the portal so I can, you know, stack them on more potions. But nope, it brings me right into a boss, you know, almost no potions. I was like, okay, I gotta do this. I gotta defeat him. So I do my best. I learn his patterns, you know, and I depleted all of his life. And I was like, yes! And then I realized there's a second stage to this boss, and I was like, no! So I died there, of course, but you know, that's what I mean by the Dark Souls element, right? There's just like a you gotta be kidding me moment where you just try over and over, and at a certain point you end up defeating them, you know, so that's really rewarding. But guys, this is what I wanted to say about the game. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you my full fight with one of the boss, and that was really enjoyable. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you like my content, and give us a comment. Let me know what you think of the game and if you think this is a game that you'll be playing. Bye everyone!